being serious. So I love getting other people's perspectives. And ironically, just because I just told my aha moment, I'm sure y'all thought about y'all aha moments. So let's capture them motherfuckers. All right. Let me walk in here. Excuse me, sir. All right. So why don't we go around robin that? What was your aha moment when you realized the journey was yours and personal? Are you where you really did make the change, or as they say in certain spaces, you locked in, right? Let's go this way. Start with you.
So I talked about obviously my injury and when I was swimming, when I was walking in, but I think when I got to a point where I put myself in a position where I saw myself getting stronger and I saw myself kind of going to a place where I never kind of thought I would do after injury.
Okay.
Um, I needed a new challenge. So I said, okay. They said I wouldn't walk. I walked. They said I wouldn't run. I kind of run. I was like, I'm doing strength training in different ways. I've always had this goal to bodybuild, but I was always laughed at for it. So I said, now's the time. I'm gonna remove that off my list.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was kind of like, all right, that's my aha. I can do this and this. And each time I'm going to do something better and get stronger and more knowledgeable and show my kids and those around me that you're not limited to your environment. You're not limited to things that you're told just because you're told them. And there's so much more that you can do with things that you have.
It's fair. That's good. Yeah. Good. I get it. What about you, guy?
I had like two aha moments. The first one, I was at Darien Lake trying to ride the Superman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. I forgot
and
about this one.
I had to walk of shame because they told me they couldn't safely secure me in there. So I was with a bunch of people and they all laughed at me when I got off and walked. Like just to point
The worst is being laughed at.
Yeah, when I mean it's a bunch of people there just looking like I'm just head down. That was one. I didn't take that too serious. I took it serious, but not too serious. And then the second time when I was on vacation in Disney and I had a friend challenge me.
Okay.
I'm always been an athlete, always been athletic. I just had a few moments in life where I let it go. And I just, I was making money and not worried about nothing. I'm just eating, and next thing you know, I'm bloated and big. So he challenged me and he's not even an athlete. He's a good brother of mine too, and I love him for it because he really made me lock in. But he challenged me, told me he can get in shape faster than I could. And mind you, he's never been an athlete, never really worked out, nothing like that. Right. It's embedded in me. I just kind of hid it away. So once he challenged me, I locked in. And now when he see me, man, bro, we reverse roles now. I got bigger and you looking real good. I'm like, bro, I just appreciate you for challenging me. You called me out.
Yeah, he don't even probably know you took it that serious. He before you told him you took it that serious. It was just he being a good person, trying to share with you, show you some love, and man, I know you better than that.
Bro, I was in denial. Yeah. I'm like, he's like, yo, you fat? I'm like, I'm not fat.
Yeah.
Now I look back, I'm like, y'all fat as yeah. So I genuinely appreciate him. That was the moment when I really when I came back, I locked in. Came back from Disney, I locked in, and as you see where I'm at now, I'm still continuing to push, but I really appreciate him for that. That was my moment.
That's good.
That was about 2 years ago. Yeah, and then as you seen the journey, even a year after when I went back to Florida, I was looking different. You seen it, I was working.
Yeah.
So now I'm now I was a size 44 down to 34 now. So it was an amazing journey. I'm still going too.
Yeah, you've been here for a year, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, we said it the other day.
9 months. Yep, 9 months.
Like
10 months. Yep.
Yeah, that's dope. I told mine, but I'll repeat them anyway. My daughter asking for me to pick her up, and me really not being able to do it was the moment I snapped out of my depression. And then the other moment was when the trainer told me that it was possible. Mm-hmm. He had just mentioned, he was just like, you can just work out, you'll feel better. And to him, it was probably nothing, right? He was and I'm like, this is the first time somebody told me it was possible. And let's keep it real. I was broke, right? So when I was broke, I'm like, I can't really afford to pay a trainer, So trainers at that time was $400, $500 a month, and I just didn't have it. So it not only helped me get my body right, but my mind right too, because I was like, I just want to work out. So I started a online program, bodybuilding.com. They're terrible now, by the way. They're not the same. For me, so somebody's gonna say, yeah, it's fine. They were free at this time. Like they didn't even charge. And there was this dude named Chris Gethin. Like that's one of my heroes. If I could meet somebody, that's somebody I want to meet. Chris put together a 12-week transformation trainer. I must have failed at this thing 4 times before I finally got it. And the reason why I think that's important is because so many people think you just get it, right? Look, it just happens, and you just get it done all of a sudden. It's like, nah, it's actually way worse than that. Let me tell you about how many times I failed. Let me tell you how many times I got setbacks or things changed. And for me, it was about a good 4 times. The last time I was watching the video because I was going with my friends. I was trying to go with the friends and everybody else and kind of put stuff together. I just didn't take it as a personal journey just yet. Like I was doing all the things, but it just wasn't personal for me yet. So then there's this piece in the trainer. I can't tell you like what week or anything like that, but he got sick, right? And I was like, oh, he about to take a week off. Like he ain't gonna do. He was like, yeah, I'm sick, so I'm doing bodyweight stuff in my house and walking my stairs. I said, yo, for real? And I want to be very clear. At the time of this video, my man is from the UK, traveled to America, ran his gym. He used to walk at 3 o'clock in the morning to his gym, which was 3 hours away, just to be able to work out.
Wow.
Right? So like, yo, if someone this busy is still making the time for fitness to be a priority, it kind of makes you feel like an asshole when you sit in your house comfortable and you're just like, yeah, I just didn't feel like going today. I was like, so that last time I was like, okay, we just gonna do it. I don't care what happens, what pops up, somebody pass away, we still gotta make it happen. Like let's just go for it. That was that moment for me, right? Watching him do that, I said, okay, no more excuses. Let's just do it. So I restarted it, did the whole damn thing.
That's dope.
How about you, man?
I would say I had 2 moments. The first one had multiple instances. I would say it stemmed from playing basketball.
Okay.
You know, going to school and college, I would always be, the quickest, hustled the most, scrappy. And then when I took that gap, I just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
My brothers, keeping up with me, like, nah, I can't do this. Something's got to change.
That's
but
fair.
that didn't lead me to change. The second part was when I was left alone from a relationship. I was just tired of being depressed.
Got it.
So I said, you know what, I got to do something different.
So is
I
it
wanna
fair?
be different.
I just heard depression across the board was a catalyst
Oh, yeah.
for all of us to
Yes,
like
sir.
really make the change. So and again, I think people watching need to hear that type of stuff, right? Because
We all go through it.
exactly. I know people will be like, man, I don't know how you do it. I know how.
Right.
I went through this, and this. And then eventually I was just like, I can't do that anymore. Like I can remember moments where like Ashley would fight with me because I was paying for a trainer at one point, right? And when I was paying for a trainer, my trainer was like $600-700. And she was like, we can't afford this. This is too much. We need to do this. And I said, we used to argue almost every day for like almost like 3-4 months, right? Just every day. I was tired of talking about it, right? Like it was so bad. And the part that makes me laugh the most is like, imagine you come home to a battlefield and then you go to work as a battlefield and this trainer is trying to tell you what to do. Like my whole demeanor ain't good. I'm like, sir, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm in pain. I can't do this. You need to leave me alone today, right? Me and him almost literally physically fought 2 times. 2 times. He said, yeah, I thought you was gonna hit me. I said, I thought I was gonna hit you too. It was one of those moments. And like, if you see this dude, he was the perfect trainer for me, right? Which is why I try to be the perfect trainer for all of you. Big dude, like in amazing shape, disciplined as hell, like the epitome of what I expect, what the black man needs to be. Let's put it like that. And his name is Ja Halt. Shout out to Ja if he ever sees this video. And Ja changed my life. I mean, rope work insane, can muscle up on the bar and do incredibles with reverses, but was 235 pounds at 8% body fat.
Sheesh.
Like monster, like true monster, right? And he'd work out with me. Like I can tell you, our second workout was 100 dips, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 knee tucks for the warm-up. All right, for the warm-up. He was like, "Yeah, it's just a warm-up." And I got next to me, I got my old business partner Danny next to me. And he's like, "Cool, career athlete, just knocking stuff out." I'm dying, and they're just like, "Yeah, this is easy. Or this is easy work. It's all day. It's all easy." I'm like, "Oh my god, yo, these motherfuckers is crazy, right?" But I had never been in a position or space where people just wanted to be better together as much as I watched these guys want to be better together. So that's what made me keep coming back. I'm sore as hell. Back hurt, legs hurt, stomach hurt. Tomorrow, all right, I'll see y'all. So I laugh now because I realized the whole reason I started this space was because I realized, like, I didn't, of course you don't always like everything that any place does, but there were spaces that I felt like we could have done that stuff better. Again, there was so much that happens in fitness in general that makes things accessible or inaccessible for people. In community, I realized this, if, like, and I'm not speaking bad about nobody on either side, but if a guy like Ja had ran Easy Work, I feel like they would still be around. Right, because they're not as big as they used to be in Rochester anymore. And I mean, at one point, y'all remember that park opening up like Cobb's with the fitness park?
Yeah,
they were the example. No, they were the example. They were so locked into the city that their first commercial for the space had Easy Work on it. That's how much they were doing in our city, like give backs, other stuff. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. They got they working with the mayor. They working with, like, they literally got some people from in the office coming to work out with them. That's what I'm saying. They were killing it at one point, right? And I just said, damn, I want to do something like that again. I finally feel like we're in a space where that's going to be possible again, be possible for the space. But a lot of it was, again, it was if the leadership had stayed in a position of leadership, right? Not I'm invincible, but just what did Dev say yesterday? He used the word infallible leadership, right? That's why, like, I'm still disciplined. Now it's from being the guy who gets it done to being the example of what getting it daily looks like, right? So I hate it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not always a fan of it, because y'all be kicking my ass sometimes, like yesterday. But at the same time, I can say for sure, like, again, I live the lifestyle, and hopefully that helps a lot of people change. Yeah. So the reason why we talk about, again, I want people to see what consistency really looks like, because I think people think consistency looks like ease, and then they put their own excuses in the way, and then they say things like, oh, well, they can do that because of, and then they use whatever example it is. I don't agree. And I've never agreed. And that's the thing you're going to hear me say consistently is, like, I mean, look, you can say what you want, but it's still bullshit. Like, you can't do this. You just don't want to. And that's okay. Just be honest about what you want to do or what you don't, right? I think that's what makes us kind of controversial, is we don't attack diet like that in here, right? Like, I talk diet. If you want to know, I'll tell you. But, you know, let's say someone has problems like losing weight or can't change the way they look. It's like, well, that's a large part of that has to do with the fact that you're depressed, right? And you got some shit going on that you got to work through, and you're not there yet, but you think you're there. So the whole conversation you keep having with people is, oh, if I just change these foods I'm eating, it won't be as bad. I'm like, right? Go ahead. You want to say something so bad?
There's so much I think that a lot of people, on what they might not even realize is their journey, but it is their journey. What happens is they fall down, like you're saying, they fall down over and over and over again. And at some point, they reach a spot where they're like, there is no more I can do. I've tried it all. But we are the biggest people that keep ourselves from doing what we were meant to do. So you were talking about somebody challenged you. So we all need a challenge in certain ways.
But finding the right way to be challenged is difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't keep ourselves accountable, it's also not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we will never change if we don't start with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And it comes to so many different realms of things. Like when you're in a depression, it's hard to see, from different avenues. But it's all work.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's fitness related or internal related,
Yeah.
it's all work. And it all comes together at some point.
Yeah.
We just have to figure it out for ourselves.
Right. I like to tell people like you just said, it's all mental to me. I tell people, you only can control one thing in life, and that's your mind. That's the only thing you really have control over. Nobody else. So it's definitely all up to you. It starts within for sure. Because I know I had to definitely conquer my mind for me to be able to get into this, and I definitely understand why he is the way he is now from hearing what he just said. Because I was that guy too, where I'm like, I'm hurt. Like my knees hurt, bro. I'm not about to squat that. Bro, my knees been hurting for the last 3 years, and I was just like looking at it today. I'm like, dang, bro, when the last time your knees was hurting? It's crazy. Right. And I just been consistent and working on myself. So you're definitely right about that. It's all about starting with yourself first. Like you gotta battle with yourself first before you battle anything else. If you can't conquer yourself, you're not gonna conquer anything.
And it's the same thing on all realms. Healing process in general when it comes to fitness, like there's something beautiful about fitness because it does provide a sense of healing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But if we don't start with ourselves, like we can't provide a service, say as a trainer, like we're sitting here trying to help somebody on their journey. But if we haven't healed in a way,
Right.
I can't give that to you.
Can't be a
because I haven't healed myself.
Right. Well, I would say this is one of the biggest mistakes I see young trainers make all the time. It's the fact that they think they have to be everything for that person. It's like, nah, the only thing you can be is the best version of you. So like I hate to say it like this, but don't try to be me. You'll never be me.
Right.
And if you keep trying to be me, you're going to miss the mark because there's something only you can do for the people who have come to you for help. You get what I'm saying? Until you realize that, you're going to continue to be like, man, I'm doing everything, let's say Linda's doing, and it's just not working. Why is it not working? You're not me, bro. Like, and they don't want you to try to be me. Like, I literally had an example of that in my first trainer, and they would say stuff like that. They would say stuff like, why is he always trying to talk like you? Like, he's not trying to talk like me. He's trying to find his own way, but he's emulating me to get there, like, which is fine. So, like, when I know your process, see, I can have your back. Right, so like when people would bring that stuff up, I'd be like, nah, he's being himself. But again, I'm the example for him to do so. So I agree. Healing my body was the beginning of my journey. Healing my mind was the next part of the journey. So like, was it from a mental space? Yes, but like once I had gotten big and strong and I was immobile and I didn't feel great, I had decided to take on yoga as my next challenge. Right, like I just went to a yoga class and I had damn near a spiritual experience the very first time I went to one. So then the teacher pulled me aside and was like, "Do you want to become a teacher?" This was like my third yoga class ever. I'm like, "Sure." Like it was a all right. The funny part was I had told my wife about the same space and she was going on her own, and they asked her the same thing. They didn't know we were married. Right, so like it wasn't like, oh, that's his wife, we should ask both of them. No, they didn't even know we were married. And they offered it to us and we went, and I can tell you, like, here we combine both, right? So you guys are like, anyone who comes in here is super fortunate, whether they know it or not. When you go to other spaces, they're afraid to combine the two. You get what I'm saying? They feel like they have to be separate and one will just get you the other. But it's just like the whole spirituality, the mental and the physical are tied. So for me, I speak from that space, again, being the example, right? And that's why people can come to me with their stuff and I can sit down and tell you about some stuff, like what I can see and all that other stuff. But unfortunately, I say it like this, if I hadn't gone through what I needed to go through for those people, for myself, right? Because there was a point, again, me and my wife arguing was a constant through my fitness journey until probably like maybe 2 years ago. It was consistent. I always felt like we were arguing. And the reason wasn't because we were actually always arguing. The reason was because I had, in my mind, I had made her the opposition. You get what I'm saying? I had felt like I was fighting against her. Everything I did, like every time she'd be like, why do we have to spend that type of money? See, now you disrespecting what I'm trying to do for myself. So now it's a fight, right? Like every time I see you, it's a fight, right? And I said, oh my goodness, I hated that so much. But later on, I realized that she was just doing her best. Like, see, what I didn't focus on at that point was that she was helping me pay for training at that point. When I opened up this space and she knew we wasn't gonna make no money, she said, I'll take the bills for an entire year. You just gotta build something where you can do what you gotta do. How many people in your life would do that for you? Take an entire year and just let you get what I'm saying? I used to make you the opposition, and I had to learn that again, it was me. It was the way I was viewing you as the opposite. And we could get real deep on that, but at the same time, those type of moments, those lessons, like I share them in here and don't even think two thoughts about it, right? Because I realize that all of y'all need something that life has given me, right? And I hope that all of y'all take that same lesson into your own lives, right? It ain't about being perfect. It's just about whatever the lesson is for you. Take that and give it. That's the world in general. I don't care what religion you believe in. I don't care what point you at in your life. Share the lessons you've been given. If you do that, then you're a pretty damn good person. Yeah. So that's why I resonate with the whole reason to be a trainer, how we do it, and honestly why I had to create this space for someone like yourself to feel good about being here.
I think it's hard to be authentic in a world like what we have now. And so often a lot of us, or myself, I had felt this way anyways, felt judged in many directions. So to keep the authenticity there was hard.
Yeah.
But if you keep the authenticity and you just go about, like you're talking about, put yourself into that and realize why you're doing things for you, others will be impacted by that so much that they're realizing, okay, well, her story was told or his story was told and I relate to this, so now I have hope to do this with my story.
That's fair.
Yeah, so it's a big piece to everything.
Yeah. The world tries to separate us on a regular basis for sure. I laugh at all the separation, all the things I hear. I laugh at, I remember that this is a specific, but I remember one girl was telling me about how she didn't need men in her life. And then every time I turned around, there was nothing but men in her life. Right. And again, it's all perspective, right? It's all perspective wise. I was like, she was like, I don't need a boyfriend. And I said, okay, like, I'm not arguing with you because I don't know your story. But then she started to tell me, and I'm like, that doesn't match up, man. I was like, so you don't need a boyfriend, but there's some guy picking up your kids. There's some guy, whenever something breaks at your house, he's there. There's some guy who helped you pay your bills. There's some guy who's helping you move. Oh, they're all the same guy? I was like, oh, what label does he have in your life? Oh, he's a friend. He's your boyfriend, man. Right. Whether you realize it or not, he's your boy. Like, you don't want to give him that label. That's y'all business. But you need a boy. You clearly need a man in your life. Definitely. If this is how it's working, right? So, and again, I know some independent women, right? I give hats off to you for sure. You do a lot. And I will say, men in general have been taught to undervalue what women bring to the table, but vice versa also applies as well. Right? So there's a lot of different conversations that aren't had. Like, we could sit down like this because of the space that we created, right? And I'm always having conversations. I'd be like, y'all crazy as hell, man. Right? Like, all the time, right? But if I didn't set that precedence, because in a lot of spaces you can't talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, at all.
You can't be honest. You can't say what it is. And, full disclosure, sometimes I do feel bad. Like, when I say stuff to them, I be like, damn, I have to say it like that. But at the same time,
people need that.
Yeah.
It's something we need to hear.
Yeah,
right.
People need that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I like to think that I am led by something greater than myself. And if that's the case, then what I'm saying is the way you need to hear it, right? I'm trying to think. I'm giving the example. One lady goes, "Why aren't you nicer?" I was like, "You wouldn't listen to me if I was nicer."
Facts.
And she was like, "Ha ha ha ha, no, I would, da 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 da." Okay, right? Like I can't argue it. I was like, it wouldn't even sound right coming from me if I was being what you deem as nicer, right? And then but later on, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it's not honest. It's not authentic for me to meet you at your standard level of nice, right? I'm just gonna be myself. And if that resonates with you, then great. If it doesn't, not a problem.
I think the beauty of this place, like you're saying, is like sometimes the information that we need is there. We just don't want to acknowledge it. So when you come here, it's like you were saying, you have all this knowledge, you have all these thoughts, but sometimes we weren't ready to hear that yet.
Right.
And coming in here, it's like there it is in a way that all of a sudden clicks, and we're like, oh, okay, X, Y, and Z could have told me that, but we step in here, and now it's like, now it is.
Right.
That's how I need it.
Fair. No, I think you're right. I appreciate you saying that. One of my biggest things, man, is to make sure that I'm passing the lessons, and they're not lessons that other people don't have, which is why I'm always saying let's gather and have conversations in big space, because straight up, there is no reason not to have these type of conversations outside of you've been told that you're not supposed to have these conversations.
Right.
But if you notice, our community is tight knit. We just had movie night last night, right? It was crazy packed in here. I was like, damn. I guess I'm watching people walk across. It's like real movies, right? Like when people don't want to walk across, I'm laughing, right? Right? Jen's running across doing this. Like it was hilarious to me. But we have our moments that matter to us. And like again, if you asked me a couple years ago if we'd be doing this, I'd be like, nah. I would have thought I'd be working at somewhere else and doing things for people. I created the space because I saw the need. I saw the need for real communication, real leadership, real, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? When you run into somebody's issues and most people go, oh, that's ugly, I don't really want to deal with that. I'm kind of the opposite, right? And I got examples out the ass from all the people here, but there's one that sticks out in particular where I was talking to my first trainer, and he had did some stuff that was clearly wrong, and I was admonishing him for it, but I was doing it publicly because he likes to hide things, right? So she thought I was trying to embarrass him. I was like, kind of, but at the same time, not really. This is a lesson to be learned. It was just as simple as me saying, something as simple as saying like, yeah, that's why we don't miss that. That's why we don't do that, right? But this person is a mom, so they decided to stand up for them, right? And I was like, okay. So I kept saying what I was saying, and they got really offended. Like they had an attitude with me for the rest of the time they were here. And this is one of those make or break moments for a lot of people, because again, when those sides of you come out that most people don't see, this is where most people leave. So I remember, I'm telling you this because I remember this real well, because they started kind of snapping at me a little bit. I was like, okay. And they were like, yeah. And I said, so I just stopped talking to them. Like the whole session, they never got engaged with again. I didn't kick them out. I didn't get angry. I just, I'm not talking to you talking to me like that. That's disrespectful. Afterwards, I'll tell you why. But I'm not trying to embarrass people in front of everybody. That's not my goal. And I remember calling them afterwards, right? So like, let's say an hour or two had passed, I called them, and they were like, don't worry, I'm never coming back. You don't have to worry about me coming back in your space. Something else about it, and I can't remember exactly what it was. And I said, well, I just called you to see if you were okay. And they were like, yeah.
Threw them off.
They were confused.
Threw a wrench.
Right? They were like, well, I just didn't like what I saw, and that's not what it is. And it was something deeper. It had nothing to do with me and the trainer having that altercation. It was something they deal with that they weren't sure about in their life. And we talked about it later. It had something to do with their son. But at the time, I was like, no, I'm not gonna stop being here just because you had a moment. I was like, it's all good. You can relax. And as soon as I said that, they started to cry. And that, I like when it comes to stuff like that, that's why I say only your gifts can make room for people's healing. And healing is what we achieve or strive for in a space. Like, I didn't know your story. Like, and I don't know everyone's story who comes in our door. I try. but I don't know everyone's story who comes in our door. And sometimes there's like, they're like onions, right? They give you a little piece, and all of a sudden there's another little piece, and there's not. And then next thing you know, they like. And back in the day, I was a whole blown drug addict. Like what? Like I didn't even know that about you. You get what I'm saying? Like, but for me, that's what it's about. See, healing doesn't always happen, boom, in the moment. It happens over layers. So when this person presented the ugly, all I simply said was, I'm not going to leave you just because you had a bad moment.
Right.
And that's where that safety and security came from, right? So again, being authentic does lead to helping people. That's why I wanted to talk about our aha moments. We're sitting here being as authentic as we possibly can about the things that made our journeys into what they are today, right? And I'm sorry, people will be like, oh, one of your superpowers is you're authentic. And I like to say it like my man Corey G. I'd be like, nah, just don't fucking miss. Like, that's really what my superpower is like, I just don't miss. Oh, we supposed to go to the gym today? All right, it's 8 o'clock at night. I said I was gonna go, so I gotta go. Like whether or not I want to do it.
Facts.
Right now that I got a space, I used to be here about 3 o'clock in the morning working out just because I knew I had to do it. Right, and that people like, why would you get up that early? You know, let's keep it real honest. Okay, as a man in current society, one of the things that we lack across the board is accepting who we are. I think everyone lacks this, but men especially can't accept who they are. And societal norms have taught you to be soft and silent, quiet, right? Don't take up much space, right? But when you go into any space, military, martial arts, fitness, every man has to be loud. You've got to be someone who stands out a little bit. And I aspire personally, this is the first time I'm saying this on video, and I'll probably never say this again. I aspire to be the gray man, okay? And do you have any idea what the gray man is? Yeah?
Give some more examples.
The gray man. Do you know what the gray man is?
I'm just thinking about the gray area. That's what I'm
okay.
thinking
All
about.
right.
Great or great?
Gray man.
You spoke about this.
Yes, I say it every once in a while, but I don't like to say it too much because it's a personal mission for me. And if I say it too much, people might get confused as to what I'm really trying to say, and they might think it's a hubris thing, so I don't bring it up too often. But I aspire to be a gray man. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about, Caleb? Yeah. Okay. So the world sees most things, and when they're presented as black and white, right? Okay. So you're either strong or you're weak, right?
Okay.
And they can view you in either space. So let's say, using color context, let's say black is strong, white is weak, right? So there's that, they're paying attention on either side. Either you're too weak, right, and you need to be protected, or you're too strong and you've isolated yourself. I aspire to be the gray man, right? The gray man no one pays attention to but can save the whole room, right?
Gotcha.
I aspire to be the guy who is emotionally intelligent but also humble enough to know when to use it, right? And if we're talking about just physical strength, I want to be strong, but I don't want everybody to know I'm strong. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just want to be able to every once in a while I'll make a joke about it's like, yeah, no, I got some friends who are still into fitness, and we'll go to do something and they'll be like, you can do that? Like, yeah, right? I don't want you to know I can do that until I need to do that, right? Great example is Luck. We were doing a self-defense thing, and he was trying to show one of his clients a punch, like how to handle a punch, right? And he was like, yeah, like, yo, Linda, come over here. I was like, what's up? He was like, try to punch in my face, try to hit my face. I was like, try? He was like, yeah. I said, like, with a real punch? He said, yeah. I said, a real punch? He said, yeah. Okay. All right. So we squared up, and again, no one knows what type of training or anything else I've ever done. So I go to punch, and my hand's all the way out before he even does this. And he does martial arts all the time. Like, he does self-defense classes, all the other stuff. So he's that guy. So I'm just like, I'm like, you told me to throw a real punch, bro. Like you told me to toss a punch. You want me to do it again? Yeah, do it again. After about 3 times, he was like, slow it down. I was like, all right, cool. I'll slow it down because I'm not here to embarrass you. I'm just doing what you're asking me to do. So then he showed the dude the lock, and of course he put me in a hard ass lock because he missed 3 punches. But the fun part was like again, afterwards it was our conversation afterwards. Yo, I didn't even know you could throw punches like that. Yeah, I can knock somebody out if I need to. I said, you ever heard 7 pounds of pressure? And he's like, nah. You ever heard that phrase? 7 pounds of pressure?
Nope.
7 pounds of pressure to the temple will kill anyone.
Okay.
Right? So if you ever hear somebody say 7 pounds of pressure, be very cautious about what they're talking about, because that person knows, right? They've been trained to hit someone hard enough to literally end their life, like specifically, right? So again, you don't need to know what skills I have, because that's not what I'm here for, right? And I laugh whenever we're having conversations, like when Garth brought up a friend, a constituent. Like we just call him a constituent, a person we know. And my demeanor changed a little bit, and they didn't expect that, right?
Gotcha,
They were like, yo, Linda can do that? Like, yeah, that's my real, like that's how I am on a regular basis. That, or how I used to be, I should say. I'd been telling you quick, like I'd knock you out, right? But now it's like, what do I need that in this space for?
Right.
So it never comes up except for moments like that, right? So I was like, yeah, I don't mess with him, right? And again, it was no, and I said it afterwards. It's not disrespect to this person. It's not disrespect to who they are or what they've done. It's just that the way that we met, I didn't like, and having that like letting people see your duality is big. Being the gray man in the room, nobody saw that coming.
At all. It was fun. It was a funny moment. It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Like, was it that serious?
I don't mess with him.
Really
he got serious though. Like he was just laughing and joking and just nah. And I'm like, but I've seen that before.
Yeah,
so I know the side.
To me, it wasn't even.
I've seen
it's not
that
even
before.
a big thing because they're both me. It's not something I'm hiding.
Yeah.
It's just not something I've needed to use in this space where most people meet me.
Right.
So it was fun. Drew, you wasn't here for that.
Yeah, it was
I don't think you've
hilarious,
ever
bro.
seen me get mad.
hilarious.
Yeah, like it's rare for me to get mad. But I was like, it wasn't like angry. It was just like very to the hold on, let me address that real quick to the point. And if you've been in spaces with that, like Kayla, I know you have, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? Based on what you know about me, right? And when people don't know, I'm like, great, right? I walk into a room, someone's disrespectful, I'm like, that's cool. And they're just like, you don't got nothing to say about that? Nah, man, I'm a punk.
Yeah.
I'm a whole punk. And then they say something to my family or something, and I take them and pick them up and put them through a wall, and then we have a whole different conversation. That's what I personally love that shit. Like me personally, I love that, right? Underestimate me until I need to use it.
There's that old saying, like, there's a time and place for everything.
Everything a time and place for everything, and everything has a time and place. That's the full thing. Yes.
Yep.
Agreed. So it's fun. It's fun to do this fitness thing, to inspire people, to let people kind of see what it is and let them see different aspects of you. Like, I realized after a point, all that rah having to be the toughest guy in the room, it just ain't it. Like, and it's not because you don't need to be tough. It's because to evolve as a man and help people, you can't do that. So that's why I say there's a lack of men being men because of what's happening. I just want to help guys do that. I love helping ladies realize what that looks like in their lives. And that's kind of how we ended up here in the first place. This whole thing started because I was just like, I want to be better. And I went to the gym. And I realized every time I would argue, I would go to the gym still, right? And then I would hurt myself at the gym because I was mad about some stuff that I was arguing about, right? Like, and I was like, oh, okay, so this place has become my therapy.
Yep.
Right? Like now I do this for the mental benefits as well as the physical. And then there was that point in yoga where I realized more than ever before, my mental state affects my physical. And that's how we created here.
That's a fact.
I talk a lot about being headstrong.
Yes.
Literally, without the mental, you can't have the physical. They go hand in hand.
They do.
There's the aspect of being tough, right? Like that's what I walked around with as a bodybuilder. I walked around with the aspect of being tough, of feeling like somebody be like, you can't do that. I'd be like, yeah, I can. And I would just try it anyway, right? Like it didn't matter. In my mind, there was no, right? For a very, very, very long time. Now in my mind, no exists. I acknowledge no. but I also move past no, right? And that is where my like strength is. And I can say a lot of the ladies in my life taught me that lesson. And it was just like they'd be like, you think you're so tough? It's like, I don't think I'm tough. I know I'm tough. And then something would happen and I get my nice little slice of humble pie and I'd be like, you know what, I wasn't as tough as I thought it was. Right? Like again, but at the same time, it wasn't that I was wrong to try. It was just that I should have acknowledged it and that would have made me better at it anyway. So the reason I use that phrase a lot, the great man phrase, is exactly that. I want to be powerful. I want to be strong, but based on where I am in life, what does strength look like, right? And it's a relative thing. So physical strength at one point was it, right? Now it's more of a mental and spiritual strength, especially spiritual, to come in here and deal with other people's stuff, right? Because that's what being a trainer really is. It's helping people. It's being someone's biggest cheerleader in spite of them through the phases, light spaces, dark spaces. It doesn't matter. So I'm excited about what we're doing here. Even this conversation, I'm excited about. But I want to make sure that we all share our messages in the best way we can. So one more time, round robin. We're gonna start with Junior this time, and then we're gonna close it. One more time, I want you to, if you have to give a message to people who are suffering from, let's say, depression, anxiety, whatever negative emotions they might be experiencing, can you give a message that will help that person to push through to the next phase of success?
I would say you're not alone, and there's a lot of people out there dealing with similar feelings and emotions as you. Don't be afraid to reach out. Find a space where you can go to, face yourself, heal, and grow.
Nice.
I just tell people it takes a village. You know, you can't do it by yourself. You know, I always thought I was Superman. You know how you felt. I felt like I was invincible, and I needed this space. You know, and this space opened up a lot of pathways for me. Just meeting different people. I would just tell people, like he said, you know, just reach out. You know, don't be afraid to reach out. Everybody has a story. The most perfect person you think is perfect, they have a story.
Oh yeah.
So please reach out and find you a community. You know, it really takes a village. You can't do it by yourself. I don't think nobody can. Just don't be afraid.
I love it.
Same wavelength as everybody. I mean, mental health in general is a tough situation. It's looked at in so many ways, but seeking your help may look different from somebody else, but somebody else might have gone through the same thing that you have. So I think that asking for help is hard, and sometimes we have to put that aside so that we can get through what we need to get through.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I got one more thing too. Is something that you told me, because I feel like I set the bar too high all the time. So start setting the bar lower. So when you accomplish it, it makes you feel way better.
Like more realistic.
Yeah, like
What's so funny? What's so funny is I don't agree with that. I think you should set the bar really high, but I think you should be very aware of where you are when it comes to the bar. Right?
Yeah.
What are you doing to meet the bar? Like if you ain't doing nothing, then that's the problem, right? Like you can't say I want to be like it's like me saying I wanted to be a business owner. Then every time you see me, I'm at home playing video games, hanging out, right? Like again, is it possible? Sure, but is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to that?
Right.
No, right? So I like the bar being high. I just don't like the bar being unobtainable based on your actions.
Yeah, and that was me.
Yeah.
That was me all day.
If the bar is that I don't be afraid to fail, because failure is lessons. It's
That's it.
not I failed, I can't do it. It's what did I learn from that quote unquote failure to get better and
That's fair.
up the next time.
That's fair.
You're gonna fail. It's just a matter of
100%.
It's not a loss, it's a lesson.
Who name? Hey, if you haven't failed, raise your hand. No one raised their hand. All right, cool. So, and one of the things I think is super important. Again, I agree with everything you guys said. I think that's why we're all here. But I want to say the first part that I don't want people to overlook is that you have to seek the help. right? Like you have to be the catalyst that starts the process. And if you don't start the process, you're going to be exactly where you were yesterday, into next week, into next month, into next year. If you want something different from your life, then you have to be the one who makes the steps. And you don't need to be out of depression to take the steps.
Right.
I hate when people say that. I'm like, that's not how it works.
At all.
I was in dark spaces seeking my healing. Like, I'm just looking for light in the dark space. I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to make this turn or look around. How many times I'm going to have to close my eyes and open them. I don't know if I'm just not seeing because I've been in the dark too long, right? You just don't know. Even when I arrived at healing, I didn't know I was healed. I was like, cool. And I kept doing what I was doing. And it took community to kind of tell me, like, no, that's amazing. You have done a lot. Because to me, the mission's never finished. I made a joke about that. We did Rock Sweat Fest, and you were there, and we did the Sweat Fest, and I remember Devin got in the car all excited. He was like, man, that was amazing. That was dope. And he looked over at my face. He said, you good? I said, it's not enough, right? He was like, but we just did great. I said, it's not enough. I know we can do more. And like, I wish I had taken that moment to celebrate with him. We talked about it later, but I wished I had taken that moment to say, no, we did do a good job. But I didn't, because of where I know I want to be versus what this was. But that's what let's talk about healing, right? That's a healing moment. I was like, damn, I didn't even celebrate the win. To me, it was just, keep going. While that can be good, that can also lead to being in a space of never really being able to enjoy all of the stuff that you do. And that for me, that's what it is. Like, I got this beautiful baby boy, I got this daughter in college, I got this lovely, beautiful wife who supports me, and all I can think about is I gotta get there, right? And that right there is bad business. So when I tell people all the time, I'm like, nah, we still going through it. As a healed man, I'm still learning to heal even more. And that's why I share the lessons. Again, authenticity looks like sharing the lessons. And I don't care how people view it outside of the space at all, right? I'm just going to keep sharing it. Thank you.
I just went through that similarly with the show because I had the bar set so high. I had all these expectations for where I was going to be. And I felt like if I didn't walk away with the win, it wasn't good.
Yeah, it was a loss.
That was a loss. So it took me coming here, going through all that I have here to learn, like, and also starting to share my journey, because there's been things that have come up since show that
Absolutely.
I'm learning about why certain things happen that they happen. And now it's like I started to share that with people and letting them know kind of what happened, and it was a form of healing for myself on its own too.
Yeah.
But being here and being able to do that, I realized it wasn't about the win. It was about the steps it took to get me there, and now what I'm going to do after there to keep going.
I love it. The catalyst, right?
Crazy. I literally went through the same thing that you said, though. Like, just now, like, for me, people are like, you look very good, bro. Like, yo, you looking good. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm not where I want to be. Like, I appreciate it, but I'm not where I want to be.
Right.
So, like, I had to really sit back and think, like, bro, you came a long way. Like, celebrate it. Like, because at first I was not celebrating that, though. I'm just like, nah, I hear you, but I'm not where I want to be. So,
well, it's the grind mentality.
Yeah.
The mentality of grinding is to, like, make sure, like, again, I keep going. And there's a part of my mind where I'm afraid that if I celebrate, I'll stop. So that space is exactly what we're all talking about, right? Acknowledging and keep going is way harder than just keep going. Keep going can be so lonely, but I'm telling you, I just had this conversation this morning. I said, you're gonna get to a point where you need help, and you're gonna wish that you had this conversation with me when you had access to me. And they're like, ha ha ha. I'm like, okay, right? Because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna stop asking you, right? And not because I'm being rude to you, but because I've moved on to other things, right? And in this moment, I can't give you that same energy anymore. And I remember I've had so many people in my life, like, as I improve, leave. or as I improve fall off, or as I improve disappear, right? And I think it's very important because a lot of the times that feels so goddamn lonely, right? Like that space of I'm doing this and I'm the only one doing this feels so lonely. But if you keep walking, eventually you'll find some community that supports it. Correct. In tenfold, bro. Like in ways I never could have seen this. You get what I'm saying? This did not exist in my mind, especially like the way it looks right now. I saw my brothers and the guys I grew up with, my comrades at arms, my friends I grew up with being next to me, and that is not the way it worked. So like, again, to sit here and have like healing conversations in this space today, like I tell Ashley all the time. I tell her, I said, I damn near feel like this is just the beginning, but at the same time, oh my God, how we've made it work so far. Like that's the vibe I try to make sure I give even in my house. Movie night, like most people was looking at, I was behind that thing. I was crying behind the damn thing. I was like, this is a beautiful sight, right? Like to have so many people here. Yeah, yo, for women to bring their children, like I understand how big that is. So to me, I'm like, that's dope. Christina was talking about Cam and how comfortable he is here. And during the Thanksgiving workout, you wouldn't hear it, but he took his shirt off. So Devin and Garth took their shirts off because they were like, yeah, it is hot, and they took their shirts off. And little man was like, he got excited because most places he's not told to even. You got to keep your shirt on. Don't be doing stuff like that. Don't be moving around too much. And we play, have at it, have fun. And to me, again, that's what it means to celebrate, right? Like those moments right there is what it means to celebrate. I wouldn't have told nobody I was crying 2 years ago. Yeah, I was crying about that. It was a beautiful moment that I could really drop tears about. I'd have been like, yeah, it was cool.
I think
And
it
then
was
just
a very
pass.
emotional thing
Yeah.
yesterday, just in general. That kind of hit me as well.
Okay,
So
fair.
I made a post and actually, ironically, Junior messaged me and he was like, welcome home. And that really hit. Like, that really hit me yesterday.
That's fair.
That's dope.
That's good.
That's dope.
That's good.
This community is fire. love
Listen, I'm just trying to make sure it keeps going. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. Just make sure it keeps going. So thank you so much for joining me today. For real, I really appreciate it. Who was meant to be here is here today, and I appreciate we having this conversation. Maybe next time when we sit down and have this convo, we can talk more about the fitness game in general, like what we did to get here, how it got us here, et cetera, et cetera. Because I feel like people want to know. They're like, well, what'd you do?
100%.
I laugh because we have similar, no, we don't. Me and you, or one of us have similar story where like, I just went to spaces and kept challenging people until like I felt like I needed to learn what I learned, and then I left. Right, like that's what I kept doing. I kept doing. That's how this training space exists.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I had a lot of different trainers. And, I ended up here,
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, maybe it's a lot of us there, because I was like,
and I don't knock no other trainer. I'm like, y'all not Linda. Y'all not Linda.
Yeah, that's it. But again, I'm not like it's big for me for y'all be like, oh, Lyndon a whole athlete. I'd be like, I'm really not doing like this. I didn't come up an athlete, none of that. Like I'm like a little ball, but that would never necessarily make you an athlete. That just makes you active, right? So to still be able to show up and show out like I do now, I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty great. I just want to keep it going. I'm like my man Freeze. I just want to keep giving it away and keep it as long as I can and get better. Yeah, that's my whole thing. I see cats getting beat up and messed up. I'm like, nah, I just want to get better.
I feel the best I ever felt, bro. I feel the best I ever felt. It's crazy.
But that's the space. That's why I said I think the next one we should talk about training and stuff a little bit, because the space is literally different. Healing happens here because of how we decided to train, and that was when I realized the difference between community and healthy competition, right, versus spaces where it was community and just simple competition. right? So yeah, I think we should definitely have a whole
You need to make
conversation
that
about
your slogan, though.
What?
It's magic that happened inside these walls. Because that was the first thing he told me. That was the first thing he told me when
That
I came
stuck
in
with
here.
you?
And I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro.
I think everybody
Whatever,
says
I don't wanna
whatever,
hear
but I'm
that.
like, I'm dead serious.
Now I'm healed. Like, you know, it's crazy. Now I'm healed. I'm like, yo, he wasn't lying.
Yeah, nah. I realized how it works. We still got a couple minutes, so I guess we can talk a little bit about it. But that's real. There's been so many phrases said in here, Doug. One that came up in step, which is why it's funny, is bang bang. I got two of them, right? So we were doing the step, and I looked back at him and I was like, should we keep going? And she was like that, right? And again, now for context, Emily is white, and I ain't talking about like grew up in the city white. I mean white, right? So when she said that, I was like, well, Em said we got to keep going because bang bang, I got two of them, right? So every time we would go in phrase, we'd be doing something, and I'd be like, well, look, we got to turn up because we can't just do one because bang bang, I got two of them.
It's legal on a hoodie.
Yeah, that's why like it's all this little stuff that gets said in here. So like that phrase being big to you wasn't something I was like, oh, it's got to be a big phrase. It was like, nah, I really believe that we help people heal. Right. So it's funny for people to tell me because I think they do have to go on shirts. And ironically, this is going to be our shirt design guy along with doggone, I forgot her name. Mariana. She's too new. I've only met her one time. But like we're gonna have some shirts with some slogans on it for sure. Cause I was like, oh yeah, that's real. No big deal's got to go on one. No big deal has to go on one from what I've been told. To me, they're not big phrases. They're just things I say, right? Just like what's on the back of this hoodie. It's like, no, I'm just saying that because I want people to. It wanted to stick with you, right? So the one that's on the back of the hoodie, I'm not turning it around. The one that's on the hoodie is a complex for your complex, so life doesn't seem so complex, right? And I used to tell myself that. Like that was something I like. We was in here. I was like, it's not that bad, right? Or I'm going through difficulties in life, so this ain't that bad, right? Oh, it's just a couple reps. I can do this because compared to what I need to be strong for versus what I'm doing, this ain't that bad. So I realized, like, oh man, that was a difficult task.
That's deep.
It's not as difficult as I thought it was because I can do this, right? And that started applying on both sides, not just the training or my life, but the training was now affecting my life because it was training. That's why you hear me say stuff like, we don't work out, we train, right? And because we are training your mental capacity. Can you finish even when your body says no? Can you persevere in the face of adversity? It's the same question, right? But one requires you to move. One requires you to realize it up here to get through it. Both of them are mental, right? But at the same time, how many spaces do you go to where that's pointed out? I'm not going to say it doesn't exist because that would be a lie. But where you make the connection via what's being shared, right? So yeah, we're going to do like a line of shirts with a bunch of different stuff on. We're going to get like a list going of like different phrases that are said. Magic in these walls. Sounds dope. I don't know how you put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
He's the guy to do it, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
It means so many different things.
That's what I'm saying.
definitely.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, how do you make it work in the space? Like, no big deal is a big one because I'll do something and then I'll get up. I'm like, no big deal. And then people are like, all right, cool. And they try it. They're like, oh, that was way harder than we thought. I was like, yeah, no big deal, right? Because that was I kind of stole that from Easy Work, but in our own way, right? Because that's what they would say every time we go to do it. We go to do a set. They'd be like, yeah, but I'd be like, man, damn, it's hard as hell. They'd be like, nah, all work is easy work.
Easy.
That's all they would say, like all the time. Yep. So eventually, you start saying it too, right? And then next thing you know, you start thinking it. That's it. The point to where you start to think it is the win, people. That's the win.
It's to the point where Dre instead of saying bye, Dre be like easy.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, he bought into that mantra heavy. That's his thing. He'd be like, he'd be doing stuff. He'd be like, easy work, easy. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And that's good. That's a good thing
amazing.
because it changes. Like I love how what we do here has become people's mantras. Like I love it. I literally would go to be like, I remember the first time. I don't know if you remember this because you were here. I was like, a complex for your complex, and then everyone finished the phrase. They were like, so life doesn't seem so complex. I turned around like, well, damn. Like I didn't. I'm just saying it because it means something to me. But apparently it resonates with all of you as well. So now we got it on a hoodie because it resonates, right? So I love it. I love what we're doing here, and yeah, this is just the beginning. I just have learned to celebrate with all of you. Thanks to all of you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Peace.